I think that was a copy-paste from my Wikipedia page. Buti hindi nilagay yung controversy part. I think last time I checked, hindi pa naman tayo persona non grata dito. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here. Actually, matagal ko nang gustong pumunta dito. I've heard great things about your beautiful city. And everything great that I expected was more or less confirmed over the past 8, 9, 10 hours. So for sure, babalik ako dito as long as I hope you still welcome me, especially after this presentation. I'm gonna put my timer here para nakita ko nagmo-Mobile Legend na yung iba tsaka natutulog yung iba. So siguraduhin natin mabilis lang ito. Nasaan yung clicker? Am I gonna see anything? So okay, so basically saan ba mag-project? Basically, ang gusto ko ngayon is medyo vibe shift ang gagawin natin because I think my very able fellow speakers, not to mention countless people, have emphasized yung mga problema na meron tayo sa bansa, yung mga challenges na hinaharap natin, ano mga kailangan natin gawin. So, ang basically gusto ko emphasize today is the fact that mahalaga na maging responsible citizens and voters tayo dahil sayang ang Pilipinas. Sa totoo lang. Dahil napakalaki yung potential ng ating bansa at ang masasabi natin is actually nare-realize na natin yung potential natin in spite of our horrible politics. So what's incredible about the Philippines is that in spite of incompetent leaders and presidents and sometimes opposition, right? Over and over again, nag-grow pa rin tayo. And in fact, in many ways, para sa akin, it's important to call ourselves no longer a small power or a small country. Hindi po tayo small country, small power. We are what international relations scholars call a middle power. Ibig sabihin, hindi tayo superpower katulad ng China or United States or even Russia for that matter. Pero meron tayong minimum capabilities. So there are 3 letters C you have to keep in mind when it comes to the middle power. Unang-una, meron tayong basic capabilities or kapasidad. So if you look at the AFP modernization, if you look at our economic foundations, if you look at our demographic momentum, all of those things say that papunta na tayo sa exciting part in the good sense of the word. The other thing is, pagdating sa Pilipinas, actually we're very good coalition builders. Pag tinignan mo sa United Nations, ang Pilipinas, wala tayong problema working with different countries and different alliances. Sa isang banda, madali para sa atin na makipag-cooperate sa mga Western countries because of our shared democratic values. At the same time, wala rin tayong problema when it comes to dealing with the so-called Global South dahil isa rin tayong developing country. Not to mention, next year, maging ASEAN chairman tayo. So if you look at the Philippines, tayo ay pwede natin tawagin na linchpin state, linchpin country. Because at the same time, may pagka-Latino tayo, may pagka-Asian tayo, at may pagka-Western tayo. That was always something that made the Philippines very special. And kaya pag tinignan mo sa United Nations, global coalition building, and importantly, pagdating sa rules-based order, magaling tayo gumawa ng mga coalitions and working with different groups on very different issues, including contentious issues. And lastly is credibility. And credibility is something I want to focus on today. Because kailan lang, nasa ICC tayo. Just to be clear, that was not intended glamour shot or anything like that. I mean, I don't know why it came off like that. But anyway, kailan lang nasa ICC lang tayo. Obviously, for the reasons that you know, I was there. But the reason I also came back to The Hague is because I was also there last year for the West Philippine Sea, South China Sea issue. And medyo nakakatuwa kasi halos lahat ng mga malalaking kaso sa Hague, sa Netherlands, Pilipinas ay involved. So if it's the South China Sea, West Philippine Sea issue, China yung kalaban natin. Ito yung pinakamalaking geopolitical legal case na na-handle ng The Hague. Ito yung korte na yan, Peace Palace sa Netherlands. In fact, it's only around 20 minutes walk from that Peace Palace to the International Criminal Court, whereby, again, the biggest case, allegedly international criminal case, again involves the Philippines. And in both cases, in one way or another, ang sinignal natin sa international community is that we want to be part of a rules-based international order. Ano ibig sabihin ng rules-based international order? Ayaw natin mangyari ito, right? So as a great historian Thucydides said dun sa Peloponnesian War, a world without rules, a world without laws is a world where basically it's the rule of the jungle, right? Like Russia, malakas ako, invade ko yung Ukraine. China, malakas ako, kunin ko yung Taiwan. Right? US, kunin ko yung Panama, kunin ko yung Greenland. Ayaw natin ang mundong yan. Ayaw natin ang mundong yan because that world belongs to the superpowers at our expense. Kaya mahalaga para sa Pilipinas na we always signal our commitment to the rules-based international order. Kaya mahalaga rin na may matitino tayong leaders. Especially, sana, hindi international criminal din yung mga leaders natin. But I'll quickly just go through this. Isa sa mga problemang napapansin ko, and I keep on hearing this metaphor, na when it comes to geopolitics, there are two big elephants, and basically, we're all the grass. But that's not true. If you look at the world today, it's more like Lion King's world, right? Like, you know, you got big elephants, you got lions, but you also have other predators and other animals with different degrees of capabilities and power, right? For me, the world is more on the right side than the left side. So para sa akin, very simplistic to say, dalawa lang superpower, pili ka na lang dyan, right? So evil ito, mabuti ito, evil ito. Obviously, US is a treaty ally. Ang China kalaban natin sa West Philippine Sea. Pero para sa akin, mahalaga na i-acknowledge natin na bilang isang middle-sized country and a middle power, we have to play our cards well, and ultimately, Filipino first foreign policy dapat meron tayo. So that's the mindset we need. Now, I know that people are going to be very skeptical. What are you talking about? I'm not going to give a lecture on hedging. It will take us one whole semester. But you know, there are many examples of countries successfully hedging in between superpowers and protecting their national interests. One case is India, for instance. So one picture there is India with Russia and China in the BRICS, and then the other picture is, for instance, India in the Quad with the US, Australia, and Japan. India, for instance, is building connectivity to Russia and Iran, at the same time connectivity to Saudi Arabia and Europe and all that. That's what we call multi-alignment. So Vietnam is another good example of so-called bamboo diplomacy. You know, you find the sweet spot, you get the investments from the Americans, you get the investment from the Chinese, you build your military capabilities by dealing with Russia, you defend yourself in the South China Sea, at the same time, your economy mo rin nag-grow. So we have many examples of countries, different sizes, as big as India, or similarly sized as the Philippines, like Vietnam, who have shown that actually if you play your cards well, you're strategically innovative enough, you can make the most out of your relationship with different superpowers, even if may complication yung relationship nyo, para siguraduhin na yung national interest mo yung mauna. I'll go quickly through this, because I'd rather have question and answer later on. Para sa akin, I think the first myth we have to get rid of is, parati tingin natin sa sarili natin underdog. Parang tayong kawawa. You know how many times I've heard from people, bakit may laban ba tayo dyan sa West Philippine Sea? Napakahigante ng China. You know, yung loser mindset na yan. And kanina, yung kasama po natin, si Dr. Ona was talking about, even a former leader of ours was openly and proudly talking about that loser mindset. Ay, wala tayong magagawa. Or biro-biro na lang, jet ski na lang tayo. But actually, if you look at the Philippines, we're not too bad. In fact, out of 200 countries in the world, in terms of raw capability, of course, there's no perfect measurement. The global firepower, you can question it. But if you look at some raw measurements, we're easily in the 80th or 90th percentile of countries in the world when it comes to raw capabilities, because actually, we're not a small country. Our economy is expected to be among the 30 largest in nominal GDP, and in purchasing power parity, we're going to be among the 20 biggest economies in the world in the coming decade or so. And why? Because we also have a big population. Look at the Philippines there. We're not too far from the population of, let's say, Mexico or Russia, right? In fact, nagsishrink yung population ng Russia. It will go down. And probably at the rate we're going, dahil napaka-prolific natin as a tropical country, will probably be top 10 or top 12 most populous countries in the coming years. So, if you look at it, you know, like for instance, almost Mexico level tayo in terms of population. But you never hear anyone saying Mexico is a small country. You hear many things about Mexico. I mean, Donald Trump says many things about Mexico. But they never say Mexico is a small country. We have almost the same population as them, and our GDP is increasing also on a yearly basis, and we are one of the fastest growing economies. So if you look at that, in short, hindi tayo pichugin. Middle-sized country tayo, fastest growing economy tayo in Southeast Asia. So in spite of all of the correct problems, education crisis, bad politics we're mentioning, the foundations are there. The potential is there. And the potential is being actualized in many ways. In fact, the growth here in Iloilo, I was talking kanina with Dr. Una, who has been visiting here for quite some time. I hope hindi ka napapahamak. Everyone says we see development here in Iloilo. In my own hometown of Baguio, we see development. In Mindanao, we see development. All across the country, we see that kind of development. But as much as we are in a sweet spot demographically and economically and slowly building our capabilities, ang katotohanan also is that we're also in a bad spot geographically. So if you look at this map, for instance, China's ultimate plan is to be the hegemon in our region. And tignan mo yung Pilipinas, sandwiched between first island chain and second island chain, both of which China wants to dominate, just like how US dominated the Caribbean. In fact, it gets even worse. If China invades Taiwan, look at how close our islands are to Taiwan. What am I trying to say with these maps? What I'm trying to say with this map is, kailangan matino yung leaders natin kasi God forbid kung may gyera, ayaw mo yung medyo, alam mo na, di ba? Syunga. Is syunga politically correct to say? Bawal ang amateur hour. Hindi tayo pwede mag-barangay geopolitics, right? Hindi pwede hanggang barangay level lang yung mindset ng presidente mo or yung mga tao nandyan. Dapat medyo matino, medyo matalino at mag-prepare tayo for contingencies because our geography is very challenging. Yes, I can see the 3 minutes. But also, our geography also means economically, we're not part of the regional supply chains. So you also have to have active trade and industrial policy. So kaya nga kailangan na matatalino yung mga leaders natin or at least my basic understanding of what's happening in our part of the world. Last time I checked, we have elected presidents over the past 10 years, at least 2 presidents, na wala pa yatang active passport by the time that they became president. Meaning ito yung mga tao na very limited yung understanding nila of the world. So we need presidents who are globally oriented but also prepared to deal with the challenges and opportunities we have here. Lastly, very lastly, does the Philippines have to choose? I don't think so. We don't have to choose between US and China. We can cooperate with US on certain issues na may common interest tayo, EDCA, military modernization. With China, yes, karibal natin sa West Philippine Sea, but there could be other areas where we could cooperate with China. Free trade agreements, for instance. Trump is against free trade agreements, but China is for free trade agreements. Maybe with China, we can work with them on technological issues. But again, as Dr. Una correctly mentioned, dapat ingat din tayo because of the sharp power, influence operations, and everything like that. But having said that, it's always challenging dealing with superpowers because superpowers always feel exceptional. That's why it's very, very important for us, guys, to play it smart and not to fall into a trap of being in this camp or that camp. You have to have strategic autonomy. You have to have that room for maneuver. Last slide. So in short, avoid false choices. The choices for the Philippines is not between US and China. The choice for the Philippines is to get the right leaders so that we can put the Philippine national interest first at sisiguraduhin natin na in the 21st century, ma-achieve natin yung prosperity and success that our forefathers and foremothers, Rizal, Gabriela Silang, all of those people were hoping for. So let me just put it this way. 20th century was a traumatic century for the Philippines. First World War, Second World War, dictatorship, economic instability. Pero cautiously optimistic ako that maybe the 21st century is finally our second chance to actualize that great potentials of the Filipino people. And we can easily actualize that if we get the right leaders. On that note, thank you very much and looking forward to your violent reactions and criticisms later on. Salamat. I am at 13 minutes and 44 seconds, so I still have 1 minute extra. Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you.